It's finally time for your first nursing school exam. You made outlines, you summarized the whole book, you reread every word in the chapter 10 times. You crossed your T's, you dotted your I's, you looked both ways before you crossed the street. You walk into the exam, you take the exam, and so what went wrong? Hey everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to help you not get run over by nursing school. I'm going to give you the 3 top study techniques that I used. These are the same 3 techniques that I used throughout the entire time in nursing school. And it all helped me to get A's throughout, top marks on all of my grades and all of my exams, all of my subject exams, ATI. The 3 secret techniques. They're not very secret because they're all evidence-based and researched. So let's go with the first one. First technique is called active recall. Now, active recall can simply be thought of as retesting. Now, this is a shift in thinking for some people because we've all been taught to use highlighters and highlight everything, or highlight minimally and summarize and paraphrase our notes and reread them over and over and over again. And science and evidence actually teaches us that this is ineffective. Our brain likes it when we recall information rather than stuffing it in there. You ever read something and then moments later you forget? Because it's not optimal for our brain. But if you read something and then you immediately try to recall that information, the brain thinks you need it and says, okay, he needs that information. And the more that you do that, the more that you recall this information, the better your learning is going to be, and the more optimized the recall of that information will be, especially when it comes time to take a test. It's going to stop those blank moments when you're taking exams, and it's going to make you quicker on your feet and on your toes to utilize the information that you need to take care of patients. Let me show you my favorite study about this. Oh, excuse me. Improving students' learning with effective learning techniques, promising directions from cognitive and educational psychology. Now, this study says that practice testing and distributed practice received high utility assessments because they benefit learners from different ages and abilities and have been shown to boost students' performance across many criterion tasks and even in educational contexts. Furthermore, everybody's favorite, most students report rereading and highlighting, yet these techniques do not consistently boost students' performance, so other techniques should be used in their place, e.g., practice testing instead of rereading. It's in the science, it's written in the books. This is the way to go. Now, how do you utilize this? Glad you asked. Let me show you my notes. Pulmonary embolus. This is a topic that I had a problem studying. So I, instead of paraphrasing and rereading and highlighting everything, I wrote questions. And these questions are specifically designed for me to recall and remember and recall the information of what is in a pulmonary embolus. What happens to the heart rate in a pulmonary embolus? What are the treatments for PE? Which class of drugs can lead to PE? These questions make me think about the answer and have to recall it and retrieve it from my memory centers. If you look at renal failure, I did the same thing. What are the 3 stages of acute renal failure? What is anuria? Give the technical definition. I think I need to restudy that because I don't know. But as you can see, it helps you to recall the information instead of rote memorization. Did I say that right? Step 2, spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is based around the concept that our memory falls off a cliff. This is called the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve is something goes into your brain and it slowly deteriorates. Now, spaced repetition is recalling that information with active recall at specific points in time to help bring that memory back up. And as it falls, we bring it back up. A memory that's a little more ingrained into our memory doesn't fall at the same rate, so you don't have to study it as much. And information that's a little more difficult for us to understand gets studied more often. And that helps it to stay at a level that we need to actively recall this information. In the book, The 7 Sins of Memory, How the Mind Forgets and Remembers, the author illustrates this quite well with Thanksgiving dinner. We remember that we had Thanksgiving dinner, and we might even remember the size of the bird that we ate, or the types of food that we had, or who was there. But we tend to forget little details, such as what they were wearing, or exactly which conversations were happening. So the details tend to fall off faster, and the concepts tend to stick around. And you can utilize that to your advantage with spaced repetition. So what's the best way to utilize that? Flashcards. Flashcards are probably the best bet. The questions are phrased correctly on the flashcard. You can utilize active recall with spaced repetition. My favorite is Anki. Anki's got some amazing, powerful tools with spaced repetition algorithm built in. Quizlet does a good job as well. Or you can just write your own cards and do your own schedule. But spaced repetition is the way to go. And last but not least, I don't know if there's any studies on this. This is just my personal tip. NCLEX style questions. The best way to get familiar and ace NCLEX style questions is to practice NCLEX style question. Can't even say it. NCLEX style questions. It's a different animal. And learning the type of question that you'll be asked and being familiar with it is the best way to practice. And the only way to do that is consistently practice NCLEX style questions. Their textbook comes with test banks, and practice questions are usually in the back of the book, or they're part of supplemental materials to the textbook. Use them. If your school gives you ATI or HESI materials or Kaplan, use it consistently over and over with spaced repetition and active recall measures. It's the best way to do it. It's a pretty good bet that your instructors are going to utilize NCLEX style questions in their exams. The NCLEX itself utilizes them. UWorld is another amazing resource. There's a lot of them out there, and I'm going to go over the best resources there are in my next video. So like and subscribe if any of this information is useful to you. Hit the bell to be notified for my next video where I go over the resources that I use specifically in nursing school, as well as how to utilize these techniques in more detail. Don't get run over. Got this. 3 techniques. These will save you in nursing school and you will excel. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it.